Unbearable extreme heat. How climate change is affecting millions of Americans. The scorching truth. America's lethal heat crisis is here, and it's worse than you think. The summer of 2025 didn't just break heat records, it shattered them. A suffocating heat dome engulfed the United States, exposing 255 million people to triple-digit temperatures so brutal that meteorologists labeled them life-threatening. But here's the chilling reality. Scientists warn this could be the coolest summer of our lifetimes. As fossil fuel emissions push global temperatures higher, extreme heat isn't just a seasonal nuisance, it's a deadly new normal reshaping American life. A climate on steroids. Every year since 2014 has ranked among the hottest ever recorded, until 2024 rewrote the rules. July 2024 saw the hottest single day in planetary history, with 35 U.S. states logging unprecedented highs. Heat waves now strike 3 times more often than in the 1960s, and record highs outpace record lows 2-to-1. This isn't natural variability. By analyzing ice cores, tree rings, and ocean sediments, researchers confirm today's CO2 levels are 50% higher than pre-industrial times, a spike directly tied to fossil fuels. The result? Global temperatures are rising faster than at any point in 2,000 years. By 2060, cities like Billings, Montana could mimic Albuquerque's current climate, while Austin might rival Dubai's desert heat by 2100. The silent killer we're ignoring. Extreme heat now kills more Americans annually than hurricanes, floods, and tornadoes combined. Over 21,000 heat-related deaths were recorded from 1999 to 2023, with mortality rates skyrocketing since 2016. Yet experts argue these numbers are dangerously undercounted. Why? Heat exacerbates chronic conditions like heart disease, but death certificates often blame the illness, not the temperature. Take the tragic case of a Missouri woman whose AC was shut off during a 2025 heat advisory. Her underlying condition became a death sentence when temperatures soared. Shockingly, 210 million Americans live in counties vulnerable to sudden heat spikes, with annual heat deaths projected to hit 28,000 by the 2090s. But here's where it gets controversial. While no one is immune, heat discriminates ruthlessly. Low-income households, 6.3 million of which lack AC, face temperatures up to 12 degrees Fahrenheit higher than wealthier neighborhoods due to urban heat islands. Outdoor workers. Disproportionately Latino immigrants risk heat stroke daily. Farm workers face 35 times the heat death risk of other jobs. Pregnant women exposed to extreme heat face 27% higher hospitalization risks, a figure that doubles for Black mothers in heat-trapped neighborhoods. Is this environmental injustice or a policy failure? When trash literally poisons the air, in Los Angeles' Val Verde, 200 degrees Fahrenheit, landfill temperatures during heat waves create toxic trash geysers, spewing benzene and carbon monoxide. Residents, mostly low-income Latinos, report chronic nosebleeds and headaches, while pets and wildlife die nearby. This isn't an anomaly. Marginalized communities are 50% more likely to live near hazardous sites. As one activist asks, why are we letting the climate crisis become a slow-motion chemical war on the poor? Economic meltdown in a warming world. Extreme heat isn't just a health crisis. It's a $100 billion annual drain on the economy. Roads buckle, rails warp, and power grids falter as demand soars. By 2050, lost productivity could hit $500 billion. Agriculture reels too. Corn farmers lose $720 million yearly to heat-stunted yields, while megadroughts, like the 1,200-year event gripping the West, threaten food security. Even oceans aren't spared. Florida's coral reefs, vital to $4.4 billion in tourism, bleached en masse when waters hit 101 degrees Fahrenheit in 2023. Can we afford to treat climate change as a distant threat? The fight for survival. States and cities are scrambling. 7 states now mandate water shade breaks for outdoor workers, while federal rebates help households install heat pumps. Tree planting initiatives aim to cool concrete jungles. Detroit planted 166,000 trees, saving lives and creating jobs. Yet critical programs like LIEP energy bill assistance face funding cuts, and a proposed national heat safety rule for workers remains in limbo. Is this enough? Critics argue piecemeal solutions ignore the root cause, fossil fuel dependence. A question for you. As cooling centers overflow and hospitals buckle under heat waves, we must ask, are we normalizing a dystopian future? Share your thoughts. Do we need bolder climate action, or can adaptation alone save us? The clock is ticking. By 2050, today's children will inherit a world where extreme is ordinary. What legacy will we leave them? Cities fighting extreme heat, innovative solutions, and global responses. Are you feeling the burn of extreme heat this week? Over 170 million Americans are currently under heat alerts, with temperatures soaring to unprecedented levels across the nation. Just last Sunday, Tampa, Florida, hit a scorching 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and cities like New York, Kansas City, and Las Vegas are bracing for high 90s or even higher temps. Extreme heat waves are no longer rare occurrences. They're becoming the new normal. A study by Climate Central reveals that human-induced climate change has at least doubled the frequency of extreme heat days in 195 countries compared to a world without global warming. For more details, check out https:/www.climatecentral.org/report/climate change and the escalation of global extreme heat 2025. According to Melissa Bardero, an adjunct faculty member at Arizona State University School of Sustainability, heat waves are a universal experience. No matter where you are, you'll face heat waves, she explains. So, it's crucial to prepare not just for emergencies like heat waves and heat domes, but also for the long-term increase in urban heat. How are the hottest states coping with extreme heat? Heat waves claim more lives in the U.S. than any other weather-related disaster. Yet, they aren't officially classified as a disaster under the Stafford Act, the federal law that dictates how the government responds to natural disasters. In many places, there isn't a designated person or department solely focused on heat management within the city, Gardaro points out. Fortunately, many cities are stepping up to tackle the issue independently. In 2021, Miami, Florida, became the first city globally to appoint a chief heat officer. Following closely behind, Phoenix, Arizona, named David Hundula as its heat mitigation officer. By 2024, Arizona had set another precedent by becoming the first U.S. state to appoint a chief heat officer. Phoenix is the gold standard, Gardaro emphasizes, noting the city's dedicated heat mitigation office. Other cities are employing various strategies. Jacksonville, Florida, for instance, connects residents with cooling centers during heat waves. Bridgeport, Connecticut, is developing cool corridors by planting trees and using reflective paint to create shaded, cooler walking paths. New York City launched a pilot program last summer distributing cool kits to outdoor workers. These kits include essentials like sunscreen, electrolytes, ice packs, and cooling towels. Is anyone safe from extreme heat? Even regions known for their temperate climates are no longer immune to extreme heat. San Francisco, typically cooled by a foggy layer, could see between 7 to 25 extreme heat days per season by mid-century if high emissions persist. Learn more at https:/toolkit.climate.gov/case-study/burning issues cool solutions San Francisco (808) and air quality. Extreme heat is already impacting places that were once considered safe. In 2021, hundreds of people died when temperatures surpassed 100 degrees in the usually mild Pacific Northwest. Several cities, including Caribou, Maine, and Grand Junction, Colorado, recorded their warmest summers on record in 2024. Global responses to heat waves, cities worldwide are also taking action against heat waves. Athens, Dhaka, and Santiago have appointed their own heat officers in recent years. These roles bridge emergency response, public health, and urban planning, bringing together different departments for a more focused approach. As Gregory Wallenius, director of Boston University's Center for Climate and Health puts it, these offices are crucial for a targeted strategy rather than each department acting independently. India's Ahmedabad offers a prime example. With the number of people exposed to extreme heat increasing, the city developed a 7-day early warning system that significantly reduced heat-related deaths by about 20%. Find out more at https://www.c40.org/scaling-up-climate-action, water, heat, nature/the future we don't want/heat extremes. In 2022, Seville, Spain, began naming heat waves as part of a categorization system to better monitor and allocate resources during extreme events. Read more about Zoe, the world's first named heat wave in Seville, at https://time.com/62000153, first named heat wave Zoe Seville. Long-term solutions are essential, says Wallenius. You can't remain in emergency mode indefinitely. German cities are adopting a sponge city approach to manage both flooding and heat, using heat-resistant road surfaces and light-colored buildings to reflect heat. In Antwerp, developers must adhere to building codes that prioritize heat resilience, requiring certain structures to have green rooftops or light, heat-reflective exteriors. Gardaro advises that cities can start small and gradually build comprehensive heat plans. By strategically combining these smaller initiatives, you can create a robust long-term solution. What do you think? How can your city better prepare for extreme heat? Share your ideas in the comments. Heat wave alert. 2,000 annual deaths from extreme heat in the U.S. The hidden dangers of extreme heat, a growing threat to the U.S. As the U.S. prepares to face yet another scorching heat wave, a stark reality comes into focus. Extreme heat is the deadliest weather-related hazard in the country, claiming approximately 2,000 lives every year. But here's where it gets even more alarming. Experts believe that the official heat-related death toll may be undercounted, as heat is sometimes not considered a contributing factor in someone's death. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, the latest statistics show that 150 heat-related deaths have already occurred in the United States in 2025. However, it's essential to note that this data is only partially tabulated due to delays in reporting. Looking back at the previous 2 years, more than 4,800 heat-related U.S. deaths were recorded, with a staggering total of at least 9,436 heat-related deaths across the nation since 2020. But what's driving this upward trend? The CDC statistics reveal that the number of heat-related deaths increased from 1,156 in 2020 to 2,415 in 2023, before slightly declining to 2,394 last year. Meanwhile, the average number of heat waves that major U.S. cities experience each year has doubled since the 1980s, according to the federal government's 5th National Climate Assessment. A recent analysis by Climate Central, an independent group of scientists and communicators researching climate change, found that between June and August 2024, the average person experienced an additional 17 days of risky heat due to human-amplified climate change. Moreover, 1 in 4 people on the planet had no respite from the heat during the summer months. The organization defined risky heat as days with temperatures hotter than 90% of the temperatures recorded in a local area from 1991 to 2020. Heat waves are becoming increasingly deadly as overnight temperatures are too high to provide relief, prolonging heat stress and the associated heat risks. In fact, extreme levels of heat stress have more than doubled over the past 40 years, a trend that is expected to continue, according to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California. So, how does extreme heat affect the human body? Heat-related illnesses, such as heat exhaustion or heat stroke, occur when the body cannot properly cool itself. While the body normally cools itself by sweating, during extreme heat, this might not be enough. In these cases, a person's body temperature rises faster than it can cool itself down, causing damage to the brain and other vital organs. The risks are real, and anyone can be affected. Those who are pregnant, have a heart condition or other chronic condition, as well as children with asthma, are especially vulnerable. An estimated 70,000 people visit emergency rooms, and an average of 10,000 are hospitalized annually due to heat. A report published in April 2024 by the CDC found that between January 1, 2023 and December 31, 2023, there were a total of 119,605 emergency room visits across the country for heat-related illnesses, with 92% of those visits occurring between May and September. July and August had higher than average ER visits due to heat than other warm season months, including May, June, and September. As the U.S. faces another heat wave, more than 200 million people across the country, from South Dakota to Florida and up the East Coast to Boston, are on alert for widespread dangerous heat. The highest temperatures on Monday will be focused in the southeast, from the Carolinas to Florida, where extreme heat indices, that is, what the temperatures feel like when humidity is factored in, are forecast to be between 105 and 115 degrees. But here's the part that's most concerning. Extreme heat is not just a minor inconvenience. It's a serious threat to public health. Officials in Boston, Philadelphia, New York City, and Washington, D.C. have all declared a heat emergency for this week, which includes opening cooling centers and working with utility providers to encourage energy conservation and maintain electrical grid reliability. The question remains, are we doing enough to address the growing threat of extreme heat? As the U.S. continues to experience record-breaking temperatures, it's essential to acknowledge the devastating impact of heat waves on our communities. So what can you do to stay safe during a heat wave? Stay hydrated, limit outdoor activity, and find a cool option, whether it's a city cooling center or a private space such as a friend's or relative's home. We want to hear from you. How do you think the U.S. should address the growing threat of extreme heat? Share your thoughts in the comments below.